Welcome to the embryology lecture series. Today we'll discuss about the intraembryonic mesoderm and its derivatives, and we'll discuss further from the fourth week onwards up to eighth week how the embryo develops inside the uterus. So this intraembryonic mesoderm, it is derived from the primitive streak. It is formed during the third week. The cells in the region of the primitive streak proliferate and leave the deep surface of the streak. They form loose network of tissue called mesenchyme. It gives rise to the intraembryonic mesoderm. It migrates between the ectoderm above, or you can say dorsally, and endoderm below, or you can say ventrally. This turns the bilaminar disc into trilaminar one. Intraembryonic mesoderm, however, doesn't pass between the ectoderm and endoderm at two places or sites, that is, in procaudal plate, or you can say that is your oropharyngeal membrane at the cranial end, and the cloacal membrane at the caudal end. In these two regions, you will not find the intraembryonic mesoderm. And rest of that, you will find that this intraembryonic mesoderm that has been spreaded or sandwiched between the ectoderm and the endoderm. The intraembryonic mesoderm soon organizes into three elements that form medial to lateral side, as they are paraxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm, and lateral plate mesoderm. So, what is the fate of this paraxial, intermediate, and lateral plate mesoderm? Paraxial mesoderm, it is subsequently divides into segmental blocks, or you can say beads, that is called as the somites. Intermediate mesoderm, it gives rise to urinary and genital system. Lateral plate mesoderm, it splits into two layers with development of cavity. The cavity is called intraembryonic xylem. The two layers being called as outer somatopleuric layer, which is adhesive to the ectoderm, and inner the splanchnopleuric layer, that is adhesive to the endoderm. The lateral plate mesoderm gives rise to muscles and connective tissue of the viscera. That means they are the smooth muscles. Serous membranes such as pleura, pericardium, and peritoneum. Blood and the lymph cells also arise from lateral plate mesoderm. Cardiovascular and lymphatic system that also develops, and spleen and adrenal cortex also develops from this lateral plate mesoderm. First we will see this paraxial mesoderm and the somites. Mesoderm, mainly it is the intraembryonic mesoderm, lying immediately lateral to the notochord. You will find a pair of paraxial mesoderm just lateral to the notochord, which is cylindrical and condenses, that is called the paraxial mesoderm. It differentiates into the axial skeleton, voluntary musculature, and dermis of the skin. Soon after its formation, the paraxial mesoderm begins to form a series of rounded pore-like structures called somatomeres. They consist of disc-like poles of paraxial mesodermal cells. Somatomere formation continues during the third and fourth week, starting from the cervical to sacral region. Somatomeres develop further to form discrete blocks called somites. The 8th, 9th, and 10th pair of somatomeres differentiates into the first, second, and third pairs of somites on the day 20. Rest of the somites develop at the rate of about 3 to 4 somites per day till day 30. Somites period extends from 20 to 30 days. Approximately 40 to 44 pairs of somites develop in human embryo. Several caudal somites disappear, finally leaving 37 to 38 pairs. These are occipital region 4 somites, cervical region 8 somites, thoracic region 12 somites, lumbar region 5, sacral region 5, coccygeal region 3 or 4. So what is the structure and fate of these somites? Each somite produces a surface elevation and is somewhat triangular on transverse section. It possesses a slit-like cavity, the mylocyli. It soon disappears. Somite presents the three elements, that is your sclerotom, myotom, and dermatom. Sclerotom gives rise to skeletal elements, mainly the axial skeleton except the skull. Myotom that gives rise to musculature. Dermatom gives rise to dermis of the skin. Then we will see folding of the embryonic disc. Till the third week, the embryo is in form of trilaminar embryonic disc. A rapid increment in the size of embryo causes folding of the embryo in both median as well as horizontal plane. First, head fold formation occurs, then we will see the tail fold formation. So in head fold formation, that is rapid growth of the neural tube, that is the primordium of the brain. The part that forms forebrain grows cranially beyond the buccopharyngeal membrane, and this brings the developing heart, its pericardial cilium, and the septum transversum to the ventral side of the embryo. During this process, dorsal part of the yolk sac is incorporated within this fold. It forms foregut. The buccopharyngeal membrane isolates foregut from the stomodium, that is an ectodermal depression at the cranial end of the embryo. At the caudal end of the embryo, tail fold forms due to the rapid growth of the caudal part of the neural tube. This encloses the dorsal part of the yolk sac within the tail fold. It forms hindgut. The terminal part of this hindgut is dilated to form the cloaca. It forms the primordium of urinary bladder and rectum and is covered by cloacal membrane. Like that, lateral folding of the embryo will also occur. This occurs in horizontal plane and is because of rapid growth of the spinal cord and the somites. This causes embryo to become cylindrical. As the abdominal wall forms due to the lateral folding, the part of the yolk sac is incorporated into the embryo as a midgut. As the lateral folding progresses, the connection between the yolk sac and midgut reduces in size and forms the yolk sac. The region of attachment of amnion to the embryo also reduces to the smaller umbilical region. So after this folding, we will see what are the derivatives of these three germ layers. So during the gastrulation, the three germ layers are formed, The cells of the germ layers divide, migrate, and differentiate in a precise manner to form various organs and systems. The derivatives of these germ layers are just I have given in a picture mode. You can go through it. Ectoderm mainly it gives rise to the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, the sensory epithelium of nose, eye, ear, epidermis of the skin, and its appendages such as hair and glands, mainly the sebaceous and sweat gland, the mammary gland, pituitary gland, and enamel of teeth that develops from this ectoderm. The neural crest cells give rise to neurons of spinal and autonomic ganglia and ganglia of cranial nerves, pigment cells, that is your melanocytes, adrenal medulla, meninges, and also contributes to the pharyngeal apparatus. Like that, the mesoderm it gives rise to muscles, both striated and smooth muscles, muscles of heart, the blood vessels, connective tissue, bones, cartilage, kidneys, testes, ovaries, genital ducts like your mesonephric and paramesonephric ducts, pleura, pericardium, adrenal cortex, and spleen, all they derived from this mesoderm. Endoderm it mainly forms lining of the gastrointestinal tract, respiratory system, tonsillar parenchyma, thyroid, parathyroid glands, thymus, pancreas, liver, lining of the urinary bladder, major part of urethra, pharyngotympanic tube, and lining of the tympanic cavity, and tympanic antrum also, and the tympanic membrane also derived from this endoderm. Now we'll see quickly about the features of the embryonic period from 4th week to 8th week. Beginning of the 4th week is marked with the embryo nearly straight and has 4 to 12 somites. Neural tube is formed by the fusion of neural folds opposite the somites. At cranial part or at the anterior and caudal part or at the posterior end, it is widely open. These are cranial and caudal neuropores. Pharyngeal arches are visible by day 24. The first mandibular and the second hyoid arches are distinctly seen. 3 pairs of arches appear by day 26. Rostral or you can say the cranial neuropore closes. Day 26 to 27 is marked by the appearance of upper limb buds, otic pits, and lens placodes are also seen. Lower limb buds appear towards the end of the 4th week. The caudal neuropore also closes by the end of the 4th week. In 5th week, during this week, there occurs enlargement of head due to rapid growth of brain, and the facial swellings will be there, like your frontonasal, maxillary, and mandibular swellings will become. Several sinus appears because of the overgrowth of second pharyngeal arch, concealing subsequent pharyngeal clefts. Mesonephric ridges are evident. Upper limb buds are pedal shaped and lower limb buds appear clipper like. At the 6th week, hand plates appear along the upper limbs. Digital rays also begin to develop, indicating formation of the digits. Auricular hillocks develop around the first pharyngeal cleft, that you can say the external acoustic meatus. The auricular hillocks forms the pinna. The head is much larger as compared to the trunk. It is bent owing to the bending of the neck region. At the 7th week, there is remarkable change in the limbs. Notches appear between digital rays indicating future digits. Communication between midgut and the yolk sac is reduced to form the yolk stalk. The midgut loop enters extraembryonic xylem that forms the umbilical hernia. Limb bones show appearance of primary centers of ossification. At the 8th week, digits of hands are separated but still webbed. Fan-shaped feet show notches between digital rays. Ossification begins in lower limb. Caudal eminence at the tail that disappears. Hands and feet come together ventrally. Head is still much larger. Eyelids are closed. Auricles start getting their final shape. External genitalia doesn't show clear differentiation. The end of the 8th week also marks the end of the embryonic period. It is followed by the fetal period, which we will discuss in our next lecture. So thanks for watching.